Bada boom. Hey everyone, you're listening to the Sleeping Giants GameCast. I'm TSG _Big Time, also known as Sean.
I am Axel Haxon, also known as Alex.
Melurito DJ, also known as Kyle.
And I'm Derek. What is up, everyone? Special mention. Fuck Eric. There we go. All right.
We got it out of the way.
2-1. We got our Eric jab in.
Hold on. We did, but special mention has to go to the man that booked off November 19th after confirmation from Cyberpunk that it would indeed release. But that was his name, Penguino or something. That's in the chat for Penguino. Like he literally reached out, like as Sean said, like hours prior to that announcement. I would say special mention to Penguino or whatever your name was, wherever you are, bro. F in the chat.
I'm sure lots of people have done that. What's her name?
Sean. It would seem that your video is only available to subscribers. What's going on? Are you still up? I'm not getting live.
Be,
oh
yeah.
no, never mind. It's good. Sorry. Just Twitch being Twitch. Just the Twitch app being shitty. My bad.
Twitch being Twitch. I don't even have any subscribers, and I can't have any. So
no, I know. I don't get it. Like I clicked on. Anyways, it's all good. It's all good. It works.
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, the chick from IGN there, Miranda Sanchez. Her too actually booked off time from work to play the game. Booked like 3 weeks vacation.
They very well may be playing it though as reviewers, if that is the case.
They probably are.
I don't know if you guys heard the big news. I mean, I'm sure most of you don't know or care, but Alana Pierce has left Rooster Teeth.
Oh, really?
Apparently,
Alana Pierce is working at Rooster Teeth?
Yeah, Funhouse. Well, Rooster Teeth is owned by Funhouse. Funhouse is owned by Rooster Teeth.
Rooster Teeth. Oh, yeah, that's right.
She left Funhouse just yesterday. Apparently everything was good, but she left because of apparently some big future project coming along. I know she's been doing a lot of voice work in games, but she didn't say anything about the future project, but I have a feeing it's going to be G4 TV.
Maybe.
Because G4 is coming back, right? So
maybe.
Yeah.
Stroking your beard. I love it.
Sorry, can I just dive into this one thing I saw on Twitter? Anyway, it was Ubisoft confirms Assassin's Creed of previous gen will only be backwards compatible on Xbox and not PlayStation.
Sounds about right.
Like
PlayStation doesn't have smart delivery, so.
But I thought, okay. I was surprised to see that.
You thought wrong. On the Xbox, it's fairly simple. The architecture is the same, and this is what they've been going for, right?
Yeah, you're not going to be able to pop. You're not going to be able to pop the PS4 Valhalla disc in and play it on.
Wow,
PS5.
really? Even Valhalla? Oh,
that's the one that they're talking about.
Well, here we go. A handful of Assassin's Creed games, including Syndicate, aren't backwards compatible on PS5. So I don't know that they're talking about Valhalla. I think they're talking literally about playing the old Assassin's
previous
Creed.
gens. Yeah.
Not
a big deal.
No, not a huge deal. But again, it's just one of those weird things, man.
It's. I mean, we've talked about it, podcast after podcast, right? And PlayStation and Xbox are completely two different spaces right now. Mm-hmm. Who they're catering to, what they do. What's the word? Well, I guess. Like they're just completely. They're marketing to different crowds. They're catering to different groups of people, and it has the entire gamer sphere up in flame wars of consoles.
Right. Okay. Well, I just thought that was interesting. You know, and I guess that does prove exactly what you're saying. The trajectory between the two.
It is, yeah. It's. I mean, PlayStation, I think, has been pretty upfront about this, though. Is that the only reason, like, the good thing is that PlayStation, with their they're included now in the PlayStation Now or whatever it is, or PlayStation Plus, sorry, that you'll be able to play like PlayStation 4 or like old PlayStation 4 games. That's because they're putting in the time and you're paying for it to get it brought forward, right? But they haven't really said anything about anything else. And the only reason why they're doing this is because Xbox has been so gung-ho on it, right? If there was no Game Pass and there was no backwards compatibility, or at least minuscule amount, this wouldn't even be a thing. So good job to Microsoft for pushing Sony to do that. But they're not going to do more than they have to, at least yet anyway. Like Ubisoft, because the thing about Xbox, like I said, is that with the smart delivery is that in Xbox, it does it on its own. Like they don't need to go and put money into it. Ubisoft doesn't have to do any change of the code or have to port it. The disc just works with smart delivery. It's just how the Xbox did its design, and was intelligent.
Made me laugh though when he said the disc just works. It sounded like it was
like the PlayStation callback to Xbox One.
Here's how you share your games.
This is how you share your games. Yeah.
Thank
but really
you.
though,
You're welcome.
It's like one. Okay, it's like one Assassin's Creed game, and then the shitty ones. Okay. I was just checking to see which ones.
I'm pretty sure it was all the old ones.
No.
Yeah, that's what I read.
The article that I read is Assassin's Creed Syndicate, and then the Chronicles Trilogy Pack, which is those shitty 2D side-scroller ones.
Oh, okay. All right.
Either way, I mean, like it's up to developers in the end, right? What they're gonna do. Just the fact of the matter remains that for Xbox with smart delivery, you can just put the disc in and it works. Obviously, they can put time into it if they want to make it better. So that'll be up to the developers if they choose to do so, or if they want to charge you extra, like some developers are doing. I think EA is doing that, and Activision for some of their games.
Right.
Well, that's for current gen games across, I guess, but it's the same idea. It's a different version, right? That they got to pay more for.
Can I get some F to show respect in the chat for the first Watch Dogs Legion casualty of this group, I believe. Edmund, the Jamaican spy who was only acquired last night to join the movement.
You got one guy last night and he's dead?
He's dead. Derek was there. I shot a guy in the face with a silenced pistol. That dude didn't die. I then freaked out and gunfire was erupting everywhere, which called in a riot drone, which I then tried to silence pistol, and then it shotgunned me in the back from drone state. And I'm like, why didn't my silence pistol kill that guy? Is it because I'm playing on hard difficulty? Don't know, but it was a direct headshot because I disrupted the guy's phone, and he's like, who sent me this text? I'm like, good night. And it's like, oh, I get you. I'm like, wait, what?
Did you check his stats or perks, though? Because don't forget, perks play into effect for everyone.
Yeah, I didn't look at this guy's. You're right. Maybe he had, like, enhanced defenses. You're right. Because every single person has traits of some kind in the game,
like,
right? So.
A cool aspect about that game, actually, is in that sense, is that I'm going around and, like I said, I was fighting in the fighting ring to try and get, because if you haven't done it yet, when you complete the fighting ring, you, at the end of all the rounds, you get to recruit everyone you just beat, or somebody, or as many, or whatever, you get to choose. Most of them are amateurs, so I just go for like the champion. So the boss battle at the end is the one that I chose to recruit. I got a girl who drops like smoke grenades, like actual like gas grenades. I explained this to you guys the other day, but you have to put on an actual gas mask because it disorients you.
That's cool.
But anyway, so she's proficient in hand-to-hand combat. So I'm going around, I'm snapping necks and beating people up, no problem.
Wow, that's so
but then I get to somebody who you go because it's X to take down, and from my experience, it's always perfect, no problem. You're behind them, you don't get caught, X to take down. I've actually had people block that and then counter me and like judo throw me over their back. Like it's crazy because you don't know what's gonna happen, and it's like, and then I'm like, shit. I'm like, do I gotta like actually read these guys' perks before attacking them?
Right.
Pay attention?
I had like headshot immunity or some shit. And I had no idea. Like I don't know how he'd have that, but he might have. And I just want to say another thing. There's just so many. This game is so fucking cool, man. This game makes me so happy to be a gamer. They actually did it, man. Because when you really think about what this game was pitched as, it so much seemed like, as Sean noted, a Nemesis system gimmick. And in some ways it is that. But it's so fun. Like, it's so fun to play. I'm walking down down an alleyway with Edmund prior to his unceremonious demise, and I'm like, this guy looks sketchy as fuck. Who the fuck's this guy? Pull up my phone, Hitman. Well, no shit. No wonder he looks so sketchy in this alleyway on a phone talking to somebody. And Edmund, who is a Jamaican guy, awesome as fuck. He's like, apparently this guy a hitman, as if that's a real job. And I'm like, says the guy who's listed as a spy. And then I'm gonna go do the hitman's mission to recruit him because he has like insta gun executions as an ability. I'm like, oh my god, get me this shit. Meanwhile, Edmund, which I never had to try, he had a cloaking device on his car plus a secret missile pod.
Bro, you never got to use that?
No.
Okay. Let me describe a scene of events that happened to me before. That's gonna make you regret his death even more, okay?
God.
So I'm driving in the spy car, minding my own business. On my way to a mish, all happy. Rear end an Albion car. So immediately sirens, the little triangle pops up, and I was like, okay, no problem. I'll get the fuck away. Swerve around him, engage the cloak. I'm like, all right. Zoom away. And I'm like, okay, I parked right in like a little tiny alley thing. Back up. And I'm like, all right, awesome. This is good. But as the guy's going by, the cloak disengages. I was like, oh God. Fuck. And he stops right in front of me. I'm like, hey, buddy, I'm just going to activate this rocket launcher here.
Oh, my God.
Blow the car up, speed away. It was fucking beautiful.
Oh, which reminds me, I was meaning to, you guys might have already seen it because I posted it in many places, but I was going to post my first arrest after Edmund died. Like, well, who am I going to use for this? I'm like, I guess I'll use the hobo and see if he can get the job done. I go to use the hobo, uncuff a chick in dangerous territory. I'm like, let's go, bitch, let's go. And then as things are popping off, the cops after me, I get smashed into by a cop car going 80. And I thought I died because it went a gray screen and it was like, arrested. And I'm like, well, I guess it's a random chance. But he literally, I got my hip actually disintegrated by this 80 mph Albion car, just all off screen. I was like, let's go, bitch, run. Boom, crushed me. And he's arrested now, so I couldn't use him for 20 some minutes or whatever it was. And then that's when I called the stream. But my God, holy shit, he should have been dead. He's lucky he wasn't dead, man. That game's fun, man. Yeah. I just want to say, don't underestimate the floating cargo bot. Floating cargo bot and your construction guy. That's my...
Yeah, because you can fly around the map with your construction guy. That's
exactly. You
can carry yourself, yeah.
Yep, so good.
But the... how does the quick execution work? Is that like a takedown and you shoot the guy immediately?
I don't know. I actually don't know, man.
Yeah, I was working on unlocking him, and one of the things is a VIP takedown, right? And I was trying to do that one right before I made dinner. I'm like, okay, it should be easy. So I get to the location. Of course, it's the Metropolitan Police Department. I was like, okay. Whatever. I sneak in the back way. And I'm playing right now, the way I'm playing is the spy has it auto-equipped as the AR cloak there, the camo. Yeah, which is great because I'll cloak, walk up to a guy, take out the silenced pistol, and just
your spy had a cloak,
buddy. Huh?
Your spy had a personal cloak, not just a car cloak.
Yeah, they come equipped with the AR camouflage.
Dude, and my spy did not.
Oh, really?
My spy had the watch that disables people's guns around him. Yeah,
and not the cloak.
He had a silenced pistol.
Oh, that's okay. That's weird.
Did you have a pistol?
Yeah, I had a pistol.
Not the cloak. He had a car cloak. That was it.
No. Well, it could be because I had the cloak, the AR cloak gadget purchased, and it auto-equipped it to the spy.
Maybe, yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the spy. Okay, it's not like the starting guy. So what? Yeah, not two pieces then. They have a built-in gadget, plus you can add one.
Yeah. So I'm assuming the Hitman will have two slots, right?
Okay, cool.
But you need to switch between those, using up on the D-pad, like you would,
But yeah, so I get to the VIP. Like I said, I snuck in the back way there, and I think The VIP is a CT drone.
Seriously?
Yeah, I got to the front and then I see the little VIP tag kind of floating. I was like, "What? Why is it floating?" And it seemed to be attached to a counterterrorism drone, which you cannot shoot down with a pistol. So
Right. Yeah.
I booked it pretty fast. I was like, okay, maybe I'll I'll go upgrade the disable CT drone tech and come back later. I don't want to die.
In the realm of, if I may, the realm of criticisms of this game, and Sean, you've alluded to this already, but it does have the air of like repetition, right? Like you'll have the same conversations across different recruits. You'll go to the same places. Like I was at the same, like you're doing different missions in those places, but it still will be like the same hospital, for example, because London's only so big and there's only so many important places, right?
Yeah,
so they
It's
can be
racist to
used.
Londoners.
So I think there is an air of that. So you have to be willing to like put that aside or realize that that's what kind of the game it is. Like even just recruiting, not every recruit mission is going to be unique, of course, right? Like it was as like you could track it as well as Derek wasn't watching me play, but then he's like, "Oh, you're in the hospital. Yeah, that hospital's fucked up." Right? So it wasn't in that sense unique. It was fully security laden for both of us, right? This strange hospital. It just depended on what mission we were doing, right? Different mission, but same place.
Yeah.
So,
as somebody who got Watch Dogs 1 at launch
mm,
and was extremely disappointed, I enjoyed the game, but was still extremely disappointed. So that's why I never played Watch Dogs 2. I am really enjoying Legion. It's really good. It's not without its problems, like pretty much every Ubisoft game.
yeah.
I don't agree with you on Game of the Year contender, but it is a very good game. Okay,
Yeah, for me,
I'm really enjoying it. I think that I like what they have with the Nemesis system, but it still is somewhat of a gimmick. It's not as fleshed out as it could have been, but it's new. It's new. It works really well. I think that's where the fun in this game is had, though, is that, like you said, like you're not necessarily going to have unique encounters. Every time I went to a different arena to do the fighting, yeah, I had like the fighters fought with a different style, but I often saw the same face or similar face.
Yeah.
Same voice.
Yeah.
It was the exact same cinematic, but in a different location. So it's like, it's not a perfect game, but, and there's a lot of repetition, like Ubisoft. There's a lot of bugs, like any Ubisoft game. Its open world is very Ubisoft too. Like, oh, here's a big open world with 1,000,001 things to do, whether you choose to do them or not. They're not necessarily interesting or fun to do. But what is cool about this game is that with that Nemesis system and recruiting your players, is you are building your own kind of. I think it's important that when you play this game that you don't necessarily go and look and be like, what are the best perks I can get? Because I think that is the wrong way to play this game.
Agreed completely.
I think you got to go by this guy visually looks cool to me. Like you're going to look for guys who has more you're going to look for people who have more perks or different perks than what your other guys has, because that's just natural. You're going to try and round out your team. But at the same time, you're like, oh shit, this is like the craziest looking guy I've ever seen. And maybe he has no perks, or his only perk is spontaneous death. You have 45 slots, they said?
Yeah.
I might recruit this guy anyway, just because he looks fucking badass. You know what I mean? Like, so I think it's important to go in with an open mind, recruit your team, play the game. Like you said, almost like every scenario, while not necessarily unique, how I watched like Kyle's stream, your stream, and Salt's stream, and then I played the day after during the day. I played the tutorial phase. I played it entirely different from you guys. It was the same scenes, the same enemies, same exact locations. I kind of knew what was going on, but I didn't fire a single bullet, for example. I was using the cams to hack and distract people and set off traps. Yeah. And that's what's cool about it, right? Because
whereas like Alex was like
Alex was just running and tackled them immediately,
tackling them or using the stun gun, whereas me it's just MP5 just and everybody's just dying.
Yeah,
right?
That's such a great point though, Sean. It's like, don't spoil your experience trying to min-max this. Don't go look at your IGN, here are the 20 best traits. Don't go do any of that shit. Just pick a team and then use them to puzzle solve these things. So that's what you end up doing. Like, I felt so cool when Derek was watching my stream, Derek, and I'm 100 feet in the air on my flying drone, drop my spider into a restricted area, and in like 10 seconds, I've hacked the CTOS and I'm in. And Derek's like, bro, you just like actually hacked the game. That feels cool because you problem solve that shit. Or the next time I'm like controlling my spider bot and I'm like, oh, I'm not close enough. And Derek's like, maybe that camera closer. I'm like, yeah, it seems to be out of range to start the download. So I had to get physically closer. So I'm like, how can I do it? So that I'm using the spider drone. And I'm like, wait, I can't reach this. So I upgrade the double jump in mid-mission, and then suddenly here we go. Now I'm double jumping the spider drone up, and now we're in business. Now I got things going on. You just feel like this is like a Mission Impossible sometimes, except you're a ragtag bunch of losers, which is even cooler.
Yeah, it is really cool, and I also think that really push yourself to experiment, like just to try different things, because there's many ways to do it, and I'm not even saying that it's necessarily a deep system. Like, it's not like there's probably a million ways to tackle each mission and you can succeed with about 99% of them. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like it's barring you out because it's a hard, difficult puzzle, but it does make for interesting scenarios of what you can do. Like they were saying, like I was telling Alex how I was like, there was like some gangs on the street and like in a fenced in like compound area, and they were walking around behind the car. So I hacked the car to go backwards. And so immediately the car just rips off and runs over 3 of the gang members. I'm like, this is fucking the best thing in the world. And then obviously there's the spot. And I think that Ubisoft did a good job too of, it's all like sometimes, like I said, that most things can work. But let's say that last mission you use the spider drone for like 99% of it. Then the next one you'll try to do that because you think that's the way. And you're like, oh shit, there's actually like no vent. Right. There's no access point to crawl in with your spider drone. There's no wall to jump over with your spider drone. So you actually have to change up what you're doing a little bit. So I think like really try to experiment different ways because there's so many like hilarious, just fun ways you can like using the lifts, the cargo drone, the regular drones, the spider drone, hacking anything possible, distracting somebody to have them stand still to make a car back up into them, whatever the situation may be. Like, I think that's where the strength of this game is, and I'm really enjoying it. Like, I wish Watch Dogs 1 was like this, to be honest with you.
We could spend all day just talking about like emergent storylines we created. I do want to share one other quick one, if I may, from my side of things. And Derek, I think you were there and laughed. Like, wait, did this just? I'm like, yep. I was flying my cargo bot, and I thought I had like the world's most godlike approach to every mission. As I'm floating in with the cargo bot to a construction area, a guy notices me and is like, what the fuck's this asshole doing? And even my construction uniform won't like save me from his suspicion. So as I'm leaving on the slow ass moving cargo bot, he shuts it down with a call to like the EMP CTOS station, and it shuts down. But lucky me, it floats without control right to the edge of a building. I just hopped off and was like, see ya! But like that could have gone so badly. I could have like ended up like literally exploding on the ground if I wasn't close enough because he shut it down and it was losing altitude. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And the permadeath, sorry, Derek, just quickly, I just want to say the permadeath makes it so much cooler because you're scared. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so like you said there, right? They shut down these like errant drones in their opinion, right? Like they might not necessarily have seen your guy, but they see this drone kind of flying overhead, and they're like, this drone's not supposed to be there.
Right, not in the logs or whatever.
Yeah, so they close it down themselves. So I had a mission. It was one of the early ones, and you have to break into a construction site. I wasn't the construction worker, and I was like, I'm not going to switch to him. I'm going to see what I can do. And there's a cargo drone, same thing, just flying overhead at the construction site, minding its own business, doing its job. So I hack it, drop the cargo on one of the guys, kills the guy, and then I disabled the drone right after. And I don't know if it was just because of the timing of it or what, because generally, you know, they'd be like, oh, what's wrong with this drone? Shut it down. But seemingly, and I want to test it again, because I disabled it, it didn't raise any like alarms. Like no one was like, someone's hacking that drone. Which is a line that I've heard a few times, right? Like when you're piloting a drill, they're like, they shut it down and they're like, all right, find the hacker, find the person responsible. In this case, it didn't happen. So I'm wondering if that's a legit a legit way that the game is programmed. So if you do drop cargo on someone, kill them, and then disable the drone, it just looks like, oh well, It's
That
a
thing malfunctioned or something.
it's a malfunctioning piece of shit.
Yeah.
Rather than someone's hacking the drone.
Right. So
I don't know.
accidental rather than malicious in that case, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if you guys ever get the opportunity to try it. I'm gonna test it out again because I'm curious as to mechanically if that's how that functions. But it was a pretty cool moment because it was just no alarms were raised. No one said look for a hacker. No one got suspicious. It was just like, what the fuck? Workplace accident.
Yeah, exactly. Workplace injury free for 0 days.
Yeah, like reset the counter, boys. And he got crushed by a crate.
Yeah. And another thing too, I know this is not super advanced or anything, but when my guy died to that riot drone, the riot drone only came over because opposing shots were fired that were not silenced. As I go in with the hobo next, who I just picked because, I could pick the hacker if I want and probably have an easier time or whatever, but I was like, let's try the hobo, fuck it. The riot drone was still there. It updated its patrol route and was just patrolling that whole area where it killed that guy. It wasn't looking for anybody. It was just there. I'm like, oh my God, really? So now this drone just already murdered my friend. And it's like, now it's a new opponent I have to face off against because of what happened. Just the emergent reality of me expecting to have a guy killed with a headshot. Don't ask me why again, but and nonetheless, it just so many little awesome things. I like I said, I could go on all day.
There's kind of countless things you can do. I had a similar. I had a mission where I was in a shopping center, I think, and there's a lake that passes through the shopping center, or a body of water that passes through a river, I guess, or a stream, whatever. And I'm on the top floor for whatever reason, so I kind of hop over onto this weird beam that I don't think I'm supposed to be standing on that goes across. I'm standing on this little beam. I crouch and stick up against the wall. I see from 300 feet out that there's a spider terminal. So I get into the spider bot and I'm doing some things. They're attacking the spider bot. They're all moving around. Then drones, the riot drones are coming and they're coming to me. So I'm hacking one and and then I'm disabling another one and they fall into the water. So they actually explode.
That's awesome.
And then I'm trying to get away. After I do what I have to do, the cops or the Albion agents are coming. And so what I did was I was running away, or I was on a little scooter. I think it was the first thing I can find. So it was a small, shitty ass moped, and there's cars in the way. So I hack them as I'm driving to go to the right. So they're all speeding off and go and crash into the right. and then Albion agents come, and I just happen to pass over one of the spots where you can raise the street to make ramps. So I do that, and it's right at the perfect moment, and it launches the Albion agents as they come over me, and they flip the trucks. I'm this game is just hilarious. I'm sure I couldn't duplicate that again if I tried, but it's just those little moments are really amazing. I'm really enjoying it. Don't get it wrong. I still think it's very much an open world Ubisoft game.
Definitely.
In many ways, but I also haven't played an open world Ubisoft game in a long time. The last one I played was The Division. And because I was a shared world shooter, I don't quite count it in the same the same vein. So, but even that before then, I haven't played an Assassin's Creed, as I was saying the other day, since Brotherhood. So,
right.
Yeah, they've managed to make this, this version of a Ubisoft open world game much more enjoyable than others that they have. Right? I haven't recently been able to stick with an Assassin's Creed or what else? What other open world games I'm trying to Yeah, Far Cry. I haven't been able to stick with those because they just get so bleh and samey.
Yeah.
But in this one, whenever I see a piece of technology points, I'm okay, how do I get this? What do I have to do to get this fucking technology? Let's go.
Yeah, another low-key thing, because I know not everybody here has experience of Watch Dogs 2, but another low-key thing, and at first I was disappointed about this, because I was wow, there's so many less hacking options. What the hell? Where is my ability to call in gangs to murder somebody when I forge a wrong internet profile or accidentally or merge a profile with a serial rapist and this guy gets arrested, so I don't have to worry about But then I realized, dude,
isn't that in the perk system?
In the future, so they've obviously like I'm assuming it's not in the perk system, like the gang stuff, like manipulating the police, all that type of stuff. But it makes sense because that like Watch Dogs 2 was a time more of like almost like the burgeoning beginnings of the hacking like craze kind of thing, like rebel hackers craze kind of vibe. Now, theoretically, at least in the lore, you can imagine that they've really cracked down on these free connections, these hack abilities, right? Presumably because it is so police state. So I'm like, okay, I can kind of get behind like some of the limitations. But the one limitation I don't like, and I've talked to you guys about this already, this is more for the podcast viewers, is you can't just pick up somebody's gun. Your guy has to have a gun like associated with his profile to even be able to use like a live fire weapon. Otherwise, the only thing you could do is assign a dead sec non-lethal.
Yeah.
And that's a bit of a bummer.
Yeah, I like having my ballistic option to
That's why you
kill someone when I want
why
to.
you need that. It's why you need that variety of characters, right? You got to
Right.
make sure that at least a couple of them have guns.
Right. And it's even to the point where you're getting characters that are like utility. Like I've got that old lady who gambles money. I've never used her once, and she just gambles on her own. And a lot of times she's losing me money. I'm like, God damn it, Veronica, what are you doing? But like,
Is that your money, by the way? Is it the shared money pool?
yeah, it's the money. Yeah, it's like ETO loss, ETO gain. That's her gambling while I'm not.
I was gonna say, it's a little bit of a bummer that you can't pick up the guns, but they do it for a good reason, I think.
Yeah.
And also, they tell you in the very first mission in the tutorial that you shouldn't be using a gun, really, right? So they don't want it to be GTA or some other game where you just pick up any gun you want and start blowing people up, because that kind of like defeats the purpose of the actual hacking equipment.
And that's how Watch Dogs 2 was. You just do whatever the fuck you want,
Mhm.
plus the AK and fuck people up.
One final note too is I don't know if you guys noticed,
3D
but
print them.
Yeah.
this game is really, like you said, you can actually, because you still are able to hack like their profiles, because you can actually go and like for the characters you're going to recruit, you can actually go. I don't know if you actually went in to see further, deeper details.
Yeah, I did with the.
But you see their fucking daily schedule, bro. It's stock in LMX. You can actually go to the exact location they're going to be in an hour and wait for them.
Yep, it's
And
like
the fact that
your brother at 5 p.m. It's like,
yeah, and the fact that this is like this for every character procedurally is kind of fucked up. Like amazing, actually. Like
yeah.
it's insane. So it's like, oh man, what is this guy doing? Oh, he's gonna be at the bar. I'm gonna go randomly go drink and play darts with my own crewmate. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
So it was weird. I was actually gonna take a screenshot and show, like, man, this is kind of fucked up.
5 p.m., 6 p.m. appointment with parole officer, stuff like that. It's like, but yeah, that's why I recommend the deep scan or whatever. If you guys haven't picked that up, just because you can see that info, and it does give you opportunities to recruit guys, as Kyle said, that dislike.
Yeah,
you have to do the work, not hate. Hate's impossible. I think it's only dislike, for the record. That's semantics, but because the one guy hates me, he'll never join me ever. But,
oh, you mean the guy that you ran over?
I shot in the head and ran over, yeah. And then, can I just say, too, I saw a guy get LMG'd at random. I just heard yelling. It's like, it's not worth it, man. And he's like, get away from me. And I'm like, what the hell? And I just stopped to look. I walk over to see what the fuck happened. A dead smuggler, LMG'd down. And I look at his profile. It's like, deceased, next of kin notified. I'm like, poor. We have, like, next of kin and shit. Like, they do actually have, like, fathers and sisters in there, like, associates.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they might not always be on the map at all times. I don't know how that all works. But I saw the same guy I betrayed before. As I said to you guys, I betrayed the guy who wouldn't join me in the green suit. The guy who downloads the porn off the dark web. I saw him getting his ass beat by cops, and I just kept on walking, baby. I just kept on motherfucking walking. Enjoy the beats, son. Like, so the game's doing their nemesis.
Enjoy the beats.
Populate kind of thing, right? Like that. Last detail for me. If you want to keep a record of your people that have died, like I do, you get like one chance after they die to like screenshot before they're removed from your roster. It says dead. Otherwise, they'll be gone from your roster after that. So if you give a fuck about like remembering the loss,
there's not a spot somewhere that keeps like a list, no?
There doesn't appear to be, no. So I just took the screenshotting.
Lame. Missed opportunity.
Missed opportunity. Agreed. Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Anyway,
It's funny because we complain about these things, but probably when you have a list like that, you only look at it like once a year anyway.
yeah, I know. Like, wow, he's dead. He's dead. Oh, weird.
But is it so hard to like put like in the game? Like the guy was there, just put them onto like a spreadsheet.
Name, yeah. You don't even put a picture or anything. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I'm gonna stop myself there. Awesome game.
Great game. So Cyberpunk was delayed, boys.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and
I think we all need to get together and send the devs some death threats. I think it's only fair.
Some dev threats. We
dev
should send them
threats?
dev
threats.
I'll dev this game better than you.
I'll fucking take your job, bitch.
Can I just say, here's the lone thought I have about this, guys.
What?
We're seeing what we thought we would. I think we're seeing what we feared, which is this mixed generation is causing some severe problem.
While the code and architecture is similar, like when you build one game for one, theoretically it works across all. The graphical fidelity is not. Like when you're taking somebody from current gen, when you're taking something that's not current gen, that should be next gen, and trying to bring it down to work on those, that's where problems lie. Because a game like Cyberpunk, which already when we first saw it announced, I said, I don't believe this is going to come on this generation. I don't believe the game on this generation, and I hope I'm wrong, but every video we've seen has been running on a high-end PC. There's no way it's been running on an Xbox One.
I think the video footage is even said running on a PC, but
yeah. It's not going to be, the draw distance won't look like that. The NPCs aren't going to move like that. The frames aren't going to be that solid. I feel like it's impossible.
Well,
and
like I think a lot of these delays have been to get it on the old consoles. They're not old yet. I mean, but they're old. Whatever. You know what I mean?
Specifically, Bungie, specifically 343 has said that, or at least the rumors, they haven't officially confirmed. My apologies on that. But the rumors is that the reason why Halo Infinite is being delayed is because they're having more issues than previously expected to get it to run on current gen consoles.
Yep.
To run at a decent quality. I mean, obviously they can never make it look as good as it's going to look on the Series X.
No.
Obviously, we need to get that out of our mind right away. But to get like a steady frame rate of maybe 30 frames per second, 60 frames per second, whatever, but actually in the right frame of mind, be able to sell that game and not feel like we're just selling broken like trash.
Yeah,
that's not where they're at right now. And Cyberpunk, I believe the devs actually tweeted that on. I think they actually did confirm that for their case. Is that I think on Twitter they actually specifically said that developing for 9 different systems is proving to be more complicated than expected. They didn't They didn't specify the older ones, but I mean, come on. I mean, it's got to be because of the older ones in some capacity.
I already heard Cyberpunk confirmed to be working perfectly on PC, Series X, and PS5.
So there you go. Yeah,
that's exactly what it is. It's problems with the old consoles, and this is one of those situations where you're just like, okay, just
should they just abandon that?
Yes, just don't.
No, because they're gonna take even more shit. The mentality of sitting there and people saying, well, just abandon it and put it on next gen, are the people that are just selfishly thinking about themselves, right? They're not viewing it from any other angle. This game has been in the works for so long. People were expecting to be able to play it on their gen console. Okay, you're expecting it? Well, then shut up and deal with the delays. Because that's the only way you're going to get it.
As well.
Like,
so then
unfortunately,
done.
Master Race and next gen guys are probably like, well, you see, we would have been able to play this on November 10th if it wasn't for all you old scrubs not pre-ordering a fucking console day one.
Yeah, on top of that, like so basically the attitude, it's basically every child sitting at home not paying rent to mommy and daddy who are going to go out and buy a brand new console day one. Oh, well, just abandon it on old consoles, okay? And then the 30-year-olds who are out in the world with a family and might want to really play this game and enjoy it and can't go out and buy a brand new fucking console day one. Like, yeah, fuck you to them. They're less important as gamers.
Yeah.
No, and I think that the devs understand that.
Right. But this does go, like, I get it from the human angle, like you're saying, but it does go to say, too, the concerns that were initially had, which is, would this gen mixing cause complications, or would it hold back the current gen? And in a manner of or the upcoming gen, and in a manner of speaking, the inability of these companies like Xbox or whatever to say no, there won't be a link between these consoles for certain games has forced Cyberpunk, CD Projekt Red into these positions where yes, they do have to release it on both, no matter what, right? And that's going to go for a lot of games, and some are going to succeed fine, and some aren't. And unfortunately, Cyberpunk is a heavy hitter, so it's in the news that it's being dragged down by some of the older hardware. Not dragged down, but delayed by specifically the older hardware. If the companies themselves didn't take such a hard line like that way, which we like that line, by the way, because why not merge them? It does create complications, though, I guess, and we saw it with Watch Dogs Legion too.
Yeah, see, this is where I fully agree, but I think it's too early to say if we're seeing that. Clearly, the old gen is delaying the new gen, right? But for me, whether I play Cyberpunk tomorrow or in 3 years, I'm going to get to play Cyberpunk.
Right.
What I want to know is, for me personally as a gamer, what everyone should be thinking about is that whether you choose to play the game on your Switch or on your PC or on your Xbox One, is that game going to run well? And that's what has to happen.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what has to happen. And because the next gen is launching like in next week, for fuck's sakes, 2 weeks. A week and a half, the new games have to stand on their own as well. Like, they have to have a significant boost to it. And because we haven't seen them running on next gen, and we haven't really seen the old ones running yet on last gen, we've just seen like PC builds. We don't really know what kind of adverse effects it will have. Me as a CD Projekt Red fan and so excited for Cyberpunk, they can take all the time they need in the world. But as I messaged you, I think at the beginning of this week, I said, should I just wait? I think the day it was delayed, I was like, should I just wait until I get a new next gen console then? Because I don't want that game to be ruined or less powerful to me or less enjoyable because the last gen is experiencing difficulties. I'm sure that CD Projekt Red is going to make the game runnable. And I'm not a huge graphics guy anyway. I don't care if it's the best looking. Yeah. But if there's significant like frame drops and there's significant like latency and like 5-minute load times, like these could be problems, right? Like that will not deter, but will lower my enjoying of the game if I play it on current gen.
Yeah. So it's in everybody's it's in everybody's best interest to wait, let them do what they need to do, but the center of the problem remains the same, which is, hey, we being, the gaming industry, not us specifically, but we've created a environment in which they are having, as you say, to deal with how many different little knickknacks, and we already know how each PC that a user has functions differently, right? Some run games great, some don't, and sometimes you don't know why. I'm sure these 9 consoles are having exactly that same problem, just on the console side, where it's like, okay, why is this chugging on Mission 7 right now? It's like Watch Dogs. It's like, oh, on current gen's consoles, once you get to the mission 6 hours in, it hard locks your Xbox. Okay, why? They patched it, to their credit. They patched it that same day. But it still hasn't stopped Sean's OG from having a meltdown every now and then, right?
An S, but and it's fairly new S, but yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't crash today though, for what it's worth.
Okay.
So I don't know. But day one, on the day that I downloaded it, I played it during the day, and within a couple hours, I think it's crashed 4 times.
Okay.
Which is kind of unheard of.
Yeah, right. But, 0 for me, but is that...
I think it's fair to say too that, just because I know Kyle's going to love this one because we're always praising Microsoft. This is Microsoft's fault. Let's not get this wrong here. Microsoft set this precedent of the cross-generational, right? Because Sony would have been happy to not support the PS4 and move forward.
I think so, yeah.
So for all the positives that this has, and I think it's positive. I'm not saying it's a negative, but
it's huge. But
Microsoft set this precedent. Now, CD Projekt Red is not Microsoft owned. So they could have not done this. They could have said it was coming to next gen only, which is what they should have done originally, in my opinion.
I think they should.
I hope that it gets running, and the game's been in development for a long time. So I doubt they even had a dev kit to play this game on until, not recently, but you know what I mean, until like the last year or two, which when we saw the game at E3, the game was already in a playable and finished state, basically. They've just been like filling in the world since then and adding more things. But I do wonder, though, part of me wonders if this is even more Microsoft's fault than we might know, because when you think of Cyberpunk, you do think of Microsoft, though, because it was announced on Microsoft's stage, and they have a pretty like tight partnership, it would seem. They're not owned or anything. I don't know if there's Microsoft money involved or whatnot, but they are pushing it really hard. Mind you, before Microsoft was even in the picture, this is CD Projekt Red who got The Witcher 3 to go everywhere, including playable on the Switch. Albeit it's like the worst version of it, and it came out like 5 years after.
Yeah.
But if they can get it to run, but it was running though. Like it wasn't unplayable on the Switch.
Apparently some patches, excuse me to interrupt, but apparently some recent patches have made it an impressive feat for what the Switch is recently. So whatever.
Exactly. So if there's any company who can do it, I have faith in CD Projekt Red. I want them to be able to bring this experience to everyone as possible. I love that whole idea. I don't want it to hold back my next gen experience, but I think it's too early to say that right now. I don't count a delay as holding back because we shouldn't be expecting any next gen games. We really shouldn't be expecting any next gen games for like a year or two anyway, until 2021 next year.
The very definition of hold back would it mean delay? So taken semantically, it is holding it actually from your hands, but
but you know what I meant when I say that. I don't mean by delays to get it to work to other audience. I mean literally like, well, this game was supposed to be free to play with a multiplayer mode, launch day one. I don't know. I'm just trying to throw in all those sweet bundles, running at 4K, 120 frames per second. But because we had to bring it to 8 other consoles, it's only going to be clocked at 30 frames per second, 4K. After all, it's not going to be free to play multiplayer. We're going to have to charge you a pass or whatever to help support the development of that. Those are the kind of things, and I don't mind supporting development. Don't get that skewed, but
sudden road bumps that have become things you have to maneuver around. These situations. And again, I think we've talked about this too before. It's like, imagine playing, like, is Overwatch on the next gen going to be 60 frames and Overwatch on the current gen going to be 30 and you're going to be matched up together? This is an age-old concern, right? Where it's like, wow, I'm going to get shredded by guys running 60 frames. Like Siege, for example, it's 60 frames on Series and PS5. Series X and PS5. So
that's already it's already going to be a problem. I forget what game they were talking about, but there's a game on the Xbox that I think it might be Gears 5 that you actually be able to clock at 120 frames per second.
Yeah, 120. Yeah,
120 frames per second on the Series X and probably PC if it's available there.
Yeah.
But on current gen and the X, I think it clocks at 60. So that's twice the amount of frames, which to the naked eye, nobody's going to notice. This is where these conversations lose me a little bit, because same with like the One X. I understand why you guys all have it, and you can see the problems that it's having. That I don't have one currently, and I understand all the luxuries of it. I really do. But that boost that I always argued with Eric about, I still believe that it was a minuscule boost. Like my time is.
I don't know who's that.
Eric? What?
Yeah, I don't know him. Who is that? Sorry.
Eric? The ghost of Eric.
I don't know Eric.
You know what I mean? Like most of our games at this point, when we play them, we're experiencing the exact same thing. My load times are a little bit longer, and as we're seeing with Legions, I get crashes that you guys don't. But on the flip side, there are some games that you guys have crash that I don't. And this is the same, like there's a lot of games on the PS4 Pro that have lots of issues that the OG doesn't. So I don't know like I said, I'm not a developer, but I don't care about all those frames. But in a shooter, it's a big deal. In a shooter, it's a big deal. We should all be playing at the same. And that's kind of like we should all be playing with a mouse and keyboard, or we should all be playing with controllers.
Right.
These are in a competitive sphere. This is a huge deal. Like I said, none of us, none of us will be able to notice visually a difference between 60 and 120. The game, you're going to be like, wow, this is like as smooth and as crisp as it's ever been. But if you didn't know better, you wouldn't be able to say this is definitely 120 over 60.
Sure.
However,
30,
if you're
60.
playing against somebody on PC going 120 frames per second with a mouse and keyboard, even without a mouse and keyboard, you're probably going to get shredded, okay? Like, there's a clear advantage in the smoothness and how they can pixel aim.
Right.
And then just... So, it's a little bit worrisome. But I think, was it Phil Spencer recently? I think this week he talked about how they're going to look into, while they're going to be doing cross-generation and, like, open platforms of, not cross-generation, cross-play across generations, they also looking at ways to block out that stuff. So if you're playing on the OG Xbox, that you only play with OG Xbox guys and not PC and Series X.
Mhm.
Now this will also create other problems, because if nobody's playing on the old consoles anymore, you're killing that group. But at the same time,
Silo.
in 3 fucking years, if you haven't upgraded somewhat, somehow, like maybe it's time. You know what I mean? Like it's not like Microsoft is shutting down support today.
Right.
But these things in general will boost the player community for everyone, which is awesome, and add longevity. But at the same time, I think it almost immediately cuts like the base, maybe not by half, but like of the console players anyway, it just disappeared because like, fuck this. Like, look at Rogue. Rogue Company. I was so hyped about that game. I was really liking it. I wanted to play more. They introduced crossplay. Apparently we were able to select so that we could only play against console, but it didn't. We were able to, but it didn't fucking work. And we just get absolutely wrecked by kids with mouse and keyboard. Like,
like to touch
changed.
on the Siege thing, I'll go up against someone who's running 60 frames per second versus my 30. I don't give a shit. That's not going to help them. It's the mouse and keyboard. It's like those little different aspects, right? The visual thing is not the thing that I sit here and be like, oh fuck, they're going to be at 60 frames. Well, I guess I'd better run out and buy a Series X day one. No. It's not, you know.
But it is a huge difference. It's definitely, me personally too, like I said, visibly we won't see it, but there is that feeling of it when you're playing the game. But it's certainly not as big as mouse and keyboard versus controller. I fully agree with you. It's not.
Yeah.
And may I also just add too, like as a counter thought process, are we overblowing this competitive difference? Because guess what? PC has this native to their experience. Because a shitty PC can run Siege, but you're running it shitty, and you're gonna get worked by a guy that has 120 frames on his PC. Like, they already experienced that, and it's still viable. It's still.
Yeah, exactly. See, and that's, I think right there, that's the most excellent way to look at that. Is you say it perfectly.
Yeah.
People are still sitting there playing Siege on PC on the lowest settings possible. They're still playing it, so obviously they're still enjoying themselves, even though they're getting ripped by the guy, like you say, who's sitting there on his fucking 120 frames per second, fucking ultra graphics on all settings, fucking
card.
you know, and they're both still playing, right? The guy with the shitty setup is still playing because he's still enjoying it, and the guy ripping people is playing it because he's still enjoying it.
But don't forget, though, this is a game. Like, the thing about this competitiveness, though, too, is that I play Siege for the competitive aspect. Not everyone does. Some people like to play Terrorist Hunts. I don't know who the hell they are.
No one likes to play Terrorist Hunt.
Some people like to get with a group of buddies and play custom games and private games, or go play social. There's a lot of people who play Siege who don't like going to play that ranked mode. You know what I mean? Like, that's just what I like to do, and everyone's different in that scenario. So obviously, look at, if you go back to like Halo, even like there was people like we used to love, Derek and I anyway, used to love playing very competitive modes. But then like once in a while I had fun in like the stupid big team battles and weird fucking action sack, like weird random game modes and stuff. Some people live to play that. Some people only play that and never play any Slayer games. They love playing zombie and shit in Halo. That's not for me.
Use map.
That's like StarCraft. Yeah. Some people love playing fucking No Borders, Continent Close, or whatever, or whatever.
Ghost Paintball. I played that too.
So there's always going to be a crew for everyone there. But I think the important thing to remember, and that's going forward and still going to games like Siege, is that when you are in a competitive atmosphere, So you can't count Terrace Hunter casual or even really customs, I guess. But when you're going into the ranked atmosphere, the playing field is supposed to be even for everyone. The only thing that should be in your way, legitimately, is your own skill. Obviously, in this day and age, we have internet connections. We have it starts with internet connections. It starts with the latency of your controller. If you're buying third-party controllers and not like Microsoft proprietary, just an example, it might not always link up. Or even Microsoft controllers, sometimes they have like there's that weird off-put delay on the controller. I've never had it happen to me, but I've heard talk of it, right? And there's the internet connection, the lag, the latency. If you have a headset to talk and communicate with your buddies, mouse and keyboard, whatever. You get the idea. Like, but the main thing is supposed to be you, your squad, and your skills. You're all supposed to have the same tools. Otherwise,
yep. But I just think I think Derek makes a great point, because really it comes down to the input being the deciding factor, like the mouse versus the controller. Just simply because the PC does already have the disparity in performance, like I said. Right, so that proves it doesn't prove you probably are getting murked by a guy who's running the latest and greatest. You probably lose gunfights because of that, but or there's knickknacks, like people turn to the lowest graphics in PUBG, so there was no grass on the ground, so you couldn't be prone slugging without being seen. That shit was bullshit, and they had to stabilize shit too, right? So, but there's all kinds of knickknacks all across the gamut, I guess, which are going to determine a competitive atmosphere. And maybe it's a golden goose that will be unfindable, a MacGuffin you'll never get. I don't know, is to find this perfect competitive state where nothing is different. Like you even just on the internet.
Yeah, like FOV modification on PC, right? That's a fucking load of bullshit. That's a load of horse shit.
That's a load of bullshit because it made the rifle look like a pop gun. Like, that's how fuck these fisheye.
The field of view?
Yeah,
like imagine playing with your field of view and then playing against those guys too. Like, example. But this will be a problem. This will be a problem going forward. I don't know how. I think the best thing they can do is to try and either have it open to everyone, or that you can kind of limit yourself to, I only want to play against people on the series. They're just calling it Xbox Series now, because I think S and X are pretty much the same when it comes to power. Like, look at the One X right now. You have like your performance mode or your graphic mode right now.
Yeah.
They've already confirmed that, like, going forward, like with the Series X, you're gonna have that, and apparently there's even more options about things you can do, much like a PC, right? So it'll be up to them to see how they do it, and I mean, maybe it won't matter in the end. We're gonna find out. I mean, we're also getting older in our years, so it's gonna be hard to say, are we just shit at games now, or is it just because everyone's using mouse and keyboard at the highest graphic settings?
Yeah, I guess who knows, but you can usually tell because the guy spins like he's on a fucking tilt-a-whirl, and then you're like, oh.
Mouse and keyboard you can tell right away, but like any other option, you can't really tell. The only thing you can visibly see is if it's mouse and keyboard or if they're having internet issues.
Yeah.
Those are like the only two things, and you can see if they're visibly skilled or not. But at the same time, internet connections don't lie. Mouse and keyboard doesn't really lie either, unless they're purposely going slow, but then they're not getting the benefit that they're looking for.
Right.
Whereas skills, you can lie. You can pretend to be shit and then rip a kid 4 hit rounds in a row. You know what I mean? Like,
and can I run this? So I was looking at a couple of, speaking of performance and decisions and things like PC, I was looking at the roster of games coming to the series and the options. So it'll be like, it was listing things in a spreadsheet like, Assassin's Creed running at 60 on Series X, whatever. But this is one that blew my mind, and I would have to confirm all the numbers. This was about 2 weeks ago. But I was like, who would make this choice? Okay. It was something to the effect of either choose performance mode, where you have unclocked or 120 frames for Devil May Cry on Series X, Devil May Cry 5, I believe it was. I think it was 120. Or 30 frames with ray tracing. And I'm like, okay, just to pick the brains of everybody in this outfit right now, who here is going to choose ray tracing for 30 frames? Like, I just don't see that as being something I would want.
It's a single-player game, heavily. It's a single-player game, not multiplayer. I'm sure you would like it just fine. It's going to look better. It's going to look a million times better.
with ray tracing. It's that
As
much.
long as it's locked at 30 frames. If it drops sub 30 frames, we've got problems.
Yeah.
But it's obviously not going to be as good looking. But don't forget, the devs decide this stuff too. They decide. It depends on how they do animations for their games too, and how they're animated. Some games cannot look that good. Some games do both. Like Mortal Kombat goes from 60 frames to 30 frames purposely in the X-ray slowdown phase.
Right.
To like show more detail and stuff like that. So a lot of it is an artistic choice. So if the game's developed properly with the ray tracing, it's probably going to look godly at 30 frames. It's a single player game. There's lots of single player games you've played this gen that run at 30 frames and look fine, like beautiful.
Right. Yeah.
So with ray tracing, it's going to look extra beautiful.
True. I'm actually gonna look that up, make sure I get that number right for you guys. But
The thing is, though, is that 120, did it say 4K or is it not 4K?
that's what I want to know as well.
You see, so because performance over graphics is that exactly, right? So they're going to sacrifice graphics, so ray tracing and maybe 4K, maybe some of the textures to hold you at 120 frames, or they'll put you into the graphics, which sacrifices the performance to 30 frames, but adds in a bunch of other like particle effects and ray tracing and stuff like that. So it really depends what you want.
Sorry. So here we go. Devil May Cry 5. Here's the options. Okay, we got resolution mode, which will be 4K with options for ray tracing on or off, or we can go frame rate mode, which would be up to 120 frames with ray tracing disabled, 30 frames with ray tracing enabled. So it's 4K on both. So it's 4K 30 with ray or 120 without ray 4K.
It really depends what you prefer. I think if you're an elitist snob, you're always going to go 120, but you're not like, to me, what the frames, like I said, the frames and stuff go over my head in the sense that next gen doesn't mean 120 frames for me. That's not what next gen means to me. And I don't think anybody in here is like, well, if the game's not at least 60, it's not next gen. I don't think anybody, except for fuck, I'm having a stroke. Instead of PC elitists, other than them, or people who just want that, like I said, I've been playing games at 30 and 60 and switching in between them, even within the same game, forever. It's not, like, it doesn't bother me. I don't think in here it bothers anybody.
No.
Well, Kyle, what would you choose? 1440p resolution with 4K for Yakuza Like a Dragon, or 60 frames in your native resolution without 4K?
Yakuza is not that good of a looking game, so I would just go with the better frames in that scenario.
Have you seen Like a Dragon? I haven't really seen much of it.
They all look the same.
See, the thing with Like a Dragon is that if it was the next Yakuza game, then I'd be able to make an actual decision. But Sean's right with this one. I'd go 60 frames because Yakuza Like a Dragon was a PS4 game.
Oh, was it?
It's been out on PS4 in Japan for a year already, so yeah, that'll be better in frame rate wise.
Okay, and I guess we've seen this too. Monster Hunter World also had this option, right? Performance versus.
The thing is that these numbers are so arbitrary, honestly, because it all comes down to the actual devs and what they're putting into it.
Well, this is a report of what they are putting into it, I would think. No?
Yes, but ray tracing into Minecraft isn't the same as ray tracing into Devil May Cry, made by two entirely different studios.
Oh, no.
It's
That's
like,
buddy, I think.
Sorry.
So that's a given, though, that ray tracing would differ in those.
Yes, but no, I mean this isn't like the speed of your processor for your computer, and like, here is this equipment that's inside of my computer. It'll always deliver this. That's not how that works. All it is confirming that you'll have this many frames or this many frames. What the graphics look like improved, and with the ray tracing and the 4K, still is all based on the people actually developing the game and how they use that stuff.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
So,
it's a good point.
So to me, it's like, so it is like a case by case basis. I think it's awesome they have the choice, but to say like, well, this person is always going to do this. No, because in some cases, like Yakuza, again, I haven't played it, but based on how it looks and how it run, my understanding was it had a little bit of, I think it was at 30 frames or 60 frames, and if there was too much going on, it slowed down a little bit. So, but if you put that into, you said 1440 4K or whatever, the game itself is pretty textureless. Like it's not like it's not a super like fantastic graphical quality game. It's not bad looking, but it's not anything special. Yeah. So to waste that graphic fidelity on it, that'll just maybe make your edges pop a little bit more, maybe make it look a little more contrasty with cool lighting effects, versus having a steady 60 frames, or I think you said 120, I can't remember, but it doesn't matter. Having a steady 120 is way more important to me in the game experience.
Right.
And it'll be different for each person. Not everyone's going to feel the same way about it. Someone like Eric will always choose the frames over the other, right?
Over anything. Yeah, that's what Eric was. I think I'm more that way too. I think frames over anything, personally. But
I think you'd have you on your One X ever switched between two different games though to see?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, so go load up like a Gears of War and go load it up Gears of War 5 and like check it out in performance mode versus graphics mode.
That's what you get paid, right? I think to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had. Okay. Maybe
do it and just to see, because again, it's art, right? Not everyone paints the picture the same way for starters, but in Coalition's defense, like the game didn't really slow down below the 60, or campaign was 30 frames, I think, if I'm not mistaken, in Gears 5. Multiplayer was 60, or was that Gears 4?
Gears 4 was
30 and 60?
30 and 60.
And Gears 5 was 60 and 60, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe so.
So yeah, and I don't think it slowed down that much based on my playtime. So like it was a steady 60 frames. So do I really need that extra performance? No.
True.
But I would rather have it look like more particle effects and shit like that. That'd be awesome.
True.
But on your free time, I strongly suggest, the fact that you haven't done this really makes me question why you own a One X also, just to say. It's okay that you haven't.
This thing's way better.
Huh?
Because it runs way better.
Yeah, but if you don't know the difference between the two, that's bad. Still, you have to know what you're doing.
Such as your Watch Dogs crashes. That's all, or PUBG or whatever. Like there are games where I can tell the difference without going to hunt for it.
Yes, but you're talking about switching between the two modes now, where the future's going, right?
Which adds to that experience as well.
Okay. On the Microsoft note,
Scrub God.
On the Microsoft note, Derek and I have some good things. I'll let Derek bring it up because I've talked too much. I'm gonna go fill up my coffee. But there was some talk this week about the Bethesda stuff, about what's happening. I know we spoke to Kyle about this.
Here we go.
But you weren't in the chat, so I'll be right back. But go ahead and lead the way, Derek. I'm pretty sure you remember everything that was talked about.
I'm sure this was something I already know about, but go ahead.
I know, but you weren't there to talk about it, so now we have to know where you stand.
Is he gone?
I think so.
No, I'm still here, asshole.
Damn it.
I'm retarded. And don't
Are you gone yet?
Twitch.
Yeah, Sean's gone.
What? What'd you say about Twitch?
Excuse my language, Twitch, because I dropped an R bomb.
Oh.
Sean's gone.
That's not good.
No, but I'm not streaming, so.
Oh.
But I am. And your gamer tag's right above me there.
It's been fun.
The commentary is going to move to Axel with 2 L's, Haxon.
Axel. Okay, fine. Before I go get my coffee, I'll start you off on it.
It's way too built up. What is going on here?
He's just building up what remember when we were a while back, we were like 2 weeks ago, we were in a party chat and I had that article about
see, I know
when Phil Spencer was asked if Microsoft could recoup its losses without releasing Bethesda games on PS4, and they were like, yes, buddy.
Yeah, and I was like, well, that does boo-boo your argument. We'll see. That's where I stand on it. So.
There's still a long ways to go, and there's still a lot to happen
there is,
to confirm either point, right? I mean, it still could go either way.
It could.
You know what's
But
funny?
Your direction.
I saw Todd Howard make a tweet the other day, and he was like, "It'll be kind of." He said, "I think it'll be kind of weird not seeing Elder Scrolls 6 on all consoles." And then
he can
somebody
say what he
tweeted,
wants. He's
and
no
that's-
longer in charge.
and then somebody tweeted and said, "Hey, buddy, your job isn't to decide where the game goes. It's just to release the goddamn game." And I fucking laughed. I laughed so hard.
It'd be sad though. Like I wouldn't be happy for
It's
gaming at large. if they lose
this
time.
announcement came way too early. Okay, they did it for the next generation of consoles and to slide things their way. But the deal's not done yet. The deal, they haven't even purchased ZeniMax media yet. They're still in.
What the hell? Got their load like 2 weeks.
No, it's still, there's still much planning going on, and there's no official details. And that's the only reason. That's one of the main reasons why Spencer hasn't said anything yet, because he doesn't own any of these games yet.
Yeah, but it's also the actual process of contract drawing up can take months and months. But the fact that the lawyers okayed the announcement means it's a done deal. Like that, there's no two ways about it, right? Yeah, they still have their independence right now, but if both sides' corporate lawyers say, "Yeah, you can make the announcement," it's a done deal. Now
Yeah.
they're literally just dotting the I's and crossing the T's. Like
It's a done deal. There's no pulling out of this. I understand that, but this is also why Spencer's not saying that. Well, Starfield comes out next Christmas on Series X only, because he can't officially right now, right?
Like even if they did lock the deal, and I don't think they have to make that decision now, at all.
If the game was coming out like recently,
No, they could literally print the PS5 discs, and then as a giant fuck you,
Yeah.
dig another
Put it in the
hole in the
landfill.
Nevada desert and like live stream and be like PS5, fear not, we have your discs. Oh wait, what is this giant hole? What is this gasoline doing? Oh, we're not releasing it on Sony platform. Sorry.
I will continue to add that furthers this. A is that he said, yes, we can recoup the money, which Derek and I did the math anyway and said that they could, but now they said it, so it should be.
We
official.
did very basic math. Like let's not make ourselves seem like fucking mathematicians here, right? Like,
it was enough math. It was enough math though to realize that Fresca looks delicious. I'm so thirsty right now.
I thought you were going to get a coffee.
I am going to, but I'm talking, and then I'm gonna say this one bit, and I'll let you go. I'll let you guys reflect on this one bit. Is that Spencer also said that, like, he didn't outright say that it wouldn't come to PlayStation, to your point, Alex. But what he did say is that these games will be exclusive to all devices that support Microsoft's services. So it's not coming to PlayStation. That means no, it's not coming to PlayStation unless PlayStation has Game Pass. That's how I read into it. There might be a world where Game Pass ends up on PlayStation one day. I don't think Sony will ever let that happen, but if that would happen, you'd be able to play it, I think.
What did you guys make of this rumored Game Pass Platinum? I don't know anything about it other than seeing Phil Spencer tease his Game Pass.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We also talked about this. You weren't in the chat when I was talking about it.
Yeah.
Talk about that idea.
Tiered Game Pass.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it though, other than that headline. You know.
Well, they didn't really say anything, right? It's just that I mean, you could look at it anyway, right? Like, one of the suggestions that I had thrown out while we had been discussing it was, for example, like, okay, you get they classify like, okay, these games are base games, so at base you get all these games, and then say, okay, well, at gold level, at bronze level, you get access to 3 brand new games a month.
Wow.
Meaning that like this is like my view of it, right? Like, meaning that at most on linked to your Game Pass account, you can have 3 brand new games. All right, and then say like silver is 5 and gold is 10 and platinum is unlimited. All right, meaning that at say the base level at 3, say Call of Duty 10 comes out, Cyberpunk 2 comes out and is on Game Pass, and Skyrim comes out, whatever fucking number it'll be at that point. And then you say, okay, well, these are the 3 games I'm going to download this month. And then say you beat Skyrim. Okay, uninstall that, and then look, fucking BioShock 6 comes out, and then download BioShock 6, right? So you're basically like locked to having 3 brand new games.
Okay. Is this just all theoretical on your part?
Huh?
Is this all theoretical on your part, right here?
Yeah, that's just like when you look at things that are tiered like that, these are their general setups, right?
Right.
Like you get an access to a base number of things like Netflix. It's tiers. You can watch it on HD on 2 devices at the same time. Then at the next tier you can watch it on 4 devices on 4K. Yeah, crap like that.
I still don't think they'll limit the games.
They don't limit content though. Yeah, they don't limit content in a Netflix subscription yet though.
No, but that's what I'm saying is in terms of a Game Pass, like you have to look at ways that how are they going to justify a tier system? Will it be, platinum, you get the game plus the season passes plus DLC, like shit like that, right? So
I think the tiers are all rumors at this point, but I think like I had this conversation with Derek, and he explained this like that you would download 5 games, and then if you delete one, you can download another one, but you can't download more than 5 on your console at a time. Okay. I can see how that would work, but I don't think that's what they're going to do. I think the Game Pass library will always be fully accessible across all subscriptions. I think you'll probably have like your silver, gold, platinum, or whatever. Probably the silver will be.
Go ahead.
What was that?
No. Please go ahead.
The base one, I think across all of them, you're gonna get Xbox Live and all your categories, and probably xCloud. Okay, the first one will probably be the cheapest one, which I think will be what we're at right now. Like what, it's $15 a month or whatever. I think that'll be the cheapest one.
But is there even a regular Game Pass anymore? Or is it all just Game Pass Ultimate now? There is still a regular one, right?
There is still a regular one. Yeah.
Still...
Okay. So then I guess it will be regular Ultimate, which Ultimate gives you access to PC, right?
Yeah.
And Xbox Live?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that's correct.
And what about the regular? It gives you all games and xCloud, but not Xbox Live?
Yeah.
Not Xbox Live bundled and not PC bundled.
And not PC.
Okay, yeah. But xCloud and all the games are there, right?
Yep.
So the next one I think would be that, but it probably gives you all the DLC or some of the DLC or like the season pass, and probably definitely, at least for games that are on like Xbox games, I think it'll give you early access like EA does right now, a couple days early or something, to like warrant the $40 a month or whatever it is they're charging you.
Fuck early access. I wouldn't pay for that.
Yeah, I don't care about it, and I think it's stupid that it's there. But again, they're giving people more options. You know what? If you want to pay extra to get it early, fine by me. Like either I'll pay for it or I won't.
That's an exact example of how a company like Microsoft would make up the money for buying big studios like ZeniMax and others in the possible future, right? Is to give you some bullshit option. Okay, not bullshit, but bullshit in our eyes as to early access, because that costs them absolutely nothing. They just, it's like Siege in their fucking season pass. They withhold something for a week and then they give it to everyone with the ability to like purchase with Renown, right? Which is an absolute bullshit move. But that would allow them to recoup their money fucking tenfold if they gave people options like that. Because how many people are actually going to sit there and be like, oh fuck yeah, early access? Yeah, bro, like, just wait a goddamn week. Big deal.
What if you did this too? What if you're like, with Platinum, you're automatically getting like things like every battle pass for PUBG or like crap like that, where they just toss in extra bells and whistles, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, you could justify it to yourself in a way, right? Where it's like, yeah, I'm like saving like this much, but it's still just digital goods flowing freely that they don't have to necessarily even give 2 fucks about it.
Yeah, right? Which would actually be funny too, because a lot of battle passes pay for themselves if you complete them.
They do. And I will also say, I would love this system because this system exists on the audiobook subscription I do. Every month you just get a credit and you can get whatever the fuck book you want in their entire category. What if Game Pass Ultimate said, hey, every month or every 2 months you get a free ticket to any game you want, even beyond the thing. It's like they give you like $80. Let's say theoretically, they wouldn't actually give that to you, but and then you just be like, oh, I'll pick this one for this month. Yeah, I'll just. It doesn't even necessarily have to be on Game Pass. It could just be like any.
They already do that though, basically with the reward system. So,
right, like so, what if they took it to an nth degree? Is what I'm saying, right? Like where Ultimate comes with guaranteed like $90 worth of rewards or whatever it is for you to pick any game you want.
I think if you
are you talking like a reward where you basically have access to a game that's not on Game Pass?
Right,
I'm just trying to.
Yeah, like a single game outside of Game Pass. Maybe within a select few. Like maybe they have 6 games that are outside of regular Game Pass reach, and like you can claim one of these games.
I don't think they'll ever do that.
Game Pass.
If they're outside of Game Pass, it's beyond Microsoft's control, kind of thing. So they would be technically when it's
for it, right? Theoretically,
they'd be fronting the cash for it to buy somebody else's game, basically. You know what I mean? As opposed to.
But that could actually be an interesting little perk depending on the way that they worked it. It's a slight tweak. Say you gain access to it, kind of like games with gold. You gain access to it for a month,
right?
And then if you enjoyed it, you'd have to buy it, right? So there are some games that other companies might actually benefit from that kind of system, just like they did in Game Pass now.
Right? They show, but they don't have to stay, like, you know.
But that being said, like the reward system as it stands, if you decide to play video games, like 10 video games a day for 12 hours of your day, you're probably getting more than $90 a month if you actually put in the time and collect all your rewards and shit.
Well, it's not exactly lucrative.
No.
It's based on the deals they have. Like, want to buy Watch Dogs, here's 6,000 points. Kind of.
Yeah.
That's whenever a new game comes out, though. Whenever a new game comes out, playing game, no, but unlocking achievements on games in Game Pass gives you rewards, which get converted as well.
It's like 50 points.
But we're talking about hundreds of games. Like, it's not lucrative to the standard person, but I'm saying if you actually put in the time, I'm pretty sure that there is that lukrativity there. If that's even a word, lukrativity.
No,
I get
really
lucrative. That's not the way you describe it, though. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not lucrative. It's like it's
a little.
It's worth your time to go in and claim them, but it's not like it's not worth your time to go in and say, okay, what are the Game Pass weekly quests this week? I'm like, I play my games, and then every so often it's like, oh, here's like you completed a weekly pass. Congratulations, have an extra 100 points. But it's like, oh, okay, I didn't know what they were.
That's right now, though. That's like an unfleshed reward system that's not incorporated with the new tier system either. I'm just saying, like. If they do something like this, it will be that way. I don't think that they'll include get a free game off from the Microsoft Store outside of this. If you get
but that's why I was tweaking Alex's idea to the idea of like a month-long rental, right? Which might actually encourage you to buy the game afterwards.
It's like imagine you got a month-long rental of Control or whatever, right? Which has not been on Game Pass. But on its release, that might have been a very hot ticket because that was in every gaudy discussion at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Imagine that, and then they could get sales afterwards when the timing ran out.
I was thinking more in this version something like a multiplayer game, right? Something that you'd get hooked on and want to go back to, and then after the month you're like, oh fuck, because I know if they did that with like COD, like. I'd get my month free, and then I'd probably be hooked, and then buy the game anyways, and then never play it afterwards.
They'd went to the burnout types where it's like, a month is all I need, right?
Like I'd play it for the month because it was free and included, and then when it was done, I'd be like, "Fuck, what am I gonna do with my COD?" Then buy it and then never touch it because I own it.
Instead of doing that for us, though, I would rather that Microsoft just takes the money from the guys who are trying to get their season pass and their early access and their DLC all in one go. And gets better acquisitions like getting Call of Duty at launch for a month on Game Pass. And then while it's on Game Pass, because you're already subscribed there, you get a discounted buy from the store from it anyway. So I'd rather they take that money and do that as opposed to who just dropped?
Alex.
What a fucking noob. Time to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of gum. Hail to the king, baby. I'm assuming he's just done. He gone.
No, I don't think so.
Computer probably crashed. Or is Discord?
Anyway, I'm assuming we're almost done anyway. I just wanted to talk a little bit about Little Hope, maybe. That I have hope that we'll play tonight, Derek? No? Okay.
Silent. He's TikToking.
But go on, please.
Choo-choo.
Called it. Called it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go micless because I don't want to zoom in on my eyeballs right now. I mean,
Camless.
camless. Sorry. Yeah.
What's wrong with your eyeballs?
They're bloodshot because of all the drugs he does.
Yeah, yeah. The drug is Watch Dogs Legion and PUBG. So hook it to my veins.
Hook it straight to the veins. Excuse me.
But yeah, so I'm curious to see where that's going to go in general, these subscriptions. I mean, I never expected it to stay as cheap as it is anyway, and I'm totally okay with them increasing the price in the future. I mean, I'd rather they didn't, but I'm not going to like get upset if they do. Like, I just feel like that's standard practice that things go up in price as time goes.
Netflix is going up in price again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's still, and you know what? You still save tons of money over getting cable service.
Yeah, that's 100%
satellite.
true. The
So
fact that
it's like-
the fact that just shitty shit that my parents get for like $75 a month is unreal.
Bro, I pay like
Fucking unbelievable.
for Bell, okay, for telephone, high speed internet, telephone that I don't even use, I might add. Telephone, high speed internet, and 30 channels is like $250 a month.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You know how much to have Disney Plus, Amazon, Netflix, Spotify is a month? Not $250. Let me tell you.
that might even be under a hundo.
It's pretty ridiculous. It's like $15 a piece, right? Like max,
Yeah.
$20 max a piece. So 2, 4, 6,
Yeah,
8,
max.
$80 a month.
Yeah. And you're getting more content you could ever fucking watch anyways.
Yeah, and I never watch TV to begin with, so it's like.
Neither do I. I only watch sports. That's all I watch on
But
TV.
they always throw that stupid spiel where when you bundle everything together, it's a cheaper deal. That's why I have a phone. I don't even have a home phone hooked up because
Nor should you.
Nobody ever calls. But I had one when we moved in, and we have the line.
Yeah,
but then I was like,
because it made my bundle cheaper.
yeah. But then the only time that it rang, like the only times it rang almost were telemarketers.
Bro, I don't even know what my phone number is. Like that's
Yeah,
how
me
that's how
neither.
fucking useless it is.
So
That is so good.
I unhooked it, but we still have the number and it's still being paid for technically. And we said just cancel it, but it'll raise the price of things.
Yeah, they're like the price will go up $15. I was like, okay, just keep the phone line there then. Like, what the fuck?
Like
That's
ideally in
what
the
I get.
future,
It's like,
I might just
it's like
pay
when you
for
order
internet.
a burger meal, you don't order a combo, and it's like more expensive without the drink. It's like, what the fuck, bro?
Yeah,
But,
that's all just a gimmick to sell the combo, though.
Yeah.
so I guess we're almost done, unless somebody else
Yeah,
has
I'm pretty
something
much
else to
tapped
talk
out,
about.
man.
I only wanted to mention with Derek a little bit about Little Hope, I guess, since we
Oh yeah.
Fuck that
Let's talk about it.
shit.
that game's spooky.
Isn't it the tropiest motherfucking thing though right now? I'm loving the stream, but it's full of tropes like scary girl, doll, fucking like I'm pretty sure you guys mathed out exactly what's gonna happen in the first like 20 minutes. Like the Dead by Daylight mathed it out.
We'll see though, right?
Yo,
We'll
I'm
see,
so sure it's a fucking. I'm so sure these are just survivors, and the only difference is that they can't run the killers around pieces. That's I swear.
Yeah, you know what? Big facts though. What's that chick's name that I think is hot? But she is hot. The short haired
Taylor?
girl with the rope burns.
I don't
Taylor?
remember.
It's
Taylor.
not Taylor. That's the other girl, right?
No, there's a. Who's the?
Andrew's girlfriend?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, Taylor.
Okay. Well, one other thing, Derek. When the guy ran into the flaming house, did you choose that?
No, bro, he
What
just.
the fuck? Why did he do that?
Because look, my theory behind this is because he was the only surviving member. All right, the house is on fire, and
He had
this
the matches in
random
his
guy
hand.
walks up to him, and he's looking at the matches in his hand, and the random guy's like, "What have you done?" And the kid's probably like, "Well, fuck this," and runs into the burning
I love how
house.
I hear Sean. I was watching Derek. I was watching your stream. Had Sean's on too. I hear Sean. What the fuck's George Takai here?
Yeah, the George Takai looking motherfucker is just immediately like, "What did you
After
do?"
The kid runs into an inferno. Ryan's like 5 out of 10 due to decision making. But what else
The
do I
thing
wanna
is,
say? Oh
the-
my God,
the
it's
thing
so
about
fun.
this-
you guys are hilarious.
The thing about this type of game, though, is you have to remember, is not everything is as it seems.
yes,
right?
that's their whole.
So-
that's their whole.
I don't know. Right now, everything is seeming as it seems, man.
Yes, but
Okay,
what I
that
mean
scene where
is that-
everyone died was sick though. It was awesome.
it was, yes. But it's no guarantee that that's what happened. And even the guy tells you that. The guy, the
Librarian dude.
the librarian dude, the curator,
Yeah.
tells you that, like, you know, like, it's like, did this happen or did it not happen? And
by the way,
there
I
may,
said it already. I'm saying
like,
it again. God, awesome.
and even if you go back to, I don't want to spoil Man of Medan necessarily, but Man of Medan actually had nothing to do with paranormal activity at all.
No.
There was
But if
nothing.
this game similarly has nothing to do with it, that's gonna be fucking kind of.
I
gross
don't think
at
it
that
will.
point.
If I'm not mistaken, it's actually based on a true story, and I think it actually
Once
does have to
again.
do with occultism.
That's fine. I'm into
So, and that's where it seems like it's going. And Derek called that too, but we'll see. It's. I just mean that we don't know, right? Like maybe.
Medan was also based off of a true story. Let's make sure that we know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
We're not ignorant to that fact.
And I mean, yeah, Andrew did it, but maybe because he thought that he was be blamed. I'm pretty sure it's because he heard his sister, though. He was the only one of the family members who hadn't died yet, and then he heard his sister, right, or somebody screamed his name, and that's why he ran into the house.
Oh,
And he was like, Megan or Molly or whatever, and he went to go get them. So it's like, that's why I said at first, this is like a haunting of Hill House or something, where it's like we're pulled
Right.
to the house. But
Yeah.
now, as we're going through this, it seems to have nothing to do with the house, so to speak.
Right.
And then at the same time, like, I'm like, okay, so when did the bus crash? Because it seemed like the bus crash happened before you saw this family in the fire thing. But then it seemed like based on
that's
what's going
modern
on,
time, the bus crash, no?
exactly, yeah. But then why were you stopped? Like we still want to know why we were stopped. Like what was the deal? Why did the police officer blockade the road or whatever? So there's a lot of like if, whats, and buts right
Yeah,
now.
I'm really
but
excited to see you guys play through it. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, you're excited to watch us
Can I
play.
just get one other plug for a game I'm really excited about? And I thought this was funny. I think I'm funny, so I'm going to say this again. I saw a game. It's like Roller Coaster Tycoon. I might have mentioned this to some of you guys. It's called Planet Coaster, and it's coming out around the time of next gen's launch.
I love making
and
coasters.
I was searching about this game, and I was like, okay, is it just a coaster creating game? Because I don't like that. Is it a tycoon theme park game? Because I'm in. Because that's like my whole childhood. It is a tycoon theme park game, and it's a tycoon theme park game where you can create your own shit and share it online, which is a nice little bonus. Now, the only barrier to entry for me, and I said this to whoever would listen already, but just because I'm here, I'm going to say it again. The only question I have was whether I'm going to buy this game is, can kids throw up after riding rides, and can you hire janitors to have to clean that shit up? If that's the type of game we have, I'm buying Planet Coaster.
And I bet you, is it going to be game of the year for you too?
You know what? If that depends on how vigorous that puke sweep up is. Like if he's really getting in there and getting the chunks out of the cobblestone, then yeah, like I mean, game of the year.
I
the cobblestone.
I think you should try Scream Ride on Game Pass.
Should I actually? Because I thought that was only a coast and not a theme park game. That was my.
It is only a coaster. I think you're supposed to build like a crazy coaster to scare people to death or something like that. I think it was supposed to be like originally like a Kinect game. It's not like a fantastic game, but I think you'd have fun with it.
Maybe I'll check it out though.
Definitely not game of the year material though.
The LucasArts classics are on Game Pass today.
What?
So you've got your Grim Fandango, you've got your Day of the Tentacle, you've got your something or others.
Don't say LucasArts. Say Tim Schafer. Come on, man. Give Tim Schafer the credit here.
LucasArts, whatever.
Nah. It's Tim Schafer. Those are all games he made.
And I'm gonna play through Grim Fandango at least. I think because that is a.
The other ones I don't care about so much, but Grim Fandango, yes, everyone download it now. It is the best game ever. Yeah, I love it.
Good humor, nice.
It was like
chill experience.
Yeah, Grim Fandango was like The Walking Dead's and fucking Life is Strange games before they became cool again.
Yep. All right, that's it for me. Sorry, guys.
Did it launch today? You said I'm gonna download it right away. Actually.
Yeah, it's out. They're out today. Yeah.
Thank goodness.
The Tentacle. There's a motorcycle one as well. Outrider or something.
Full Throttle.
Full Throttle. Thank you. And like I said, Grim, Day of Tentacle, and Full Throttle all on Game Pass. All point and click adventures, and I believe they all have voice work done. So, from the early '90s.
Yeah, Fandango has voice work.
Yeah. Well, no, right, like Day of the Tentacle was redone and stuff like that. So
so was Grim. The Grim Fandango was just re-released on PlayStation exclusively, actually.
And Switch as well.
Was PlayStation? I think it was 2 years ago. I think. Yeah.
But now Microsoft has that because they bought that company. Also, go play Brutal Legends if you haven't.
Yeah, please do.
Question: is it Brutal Legend or Brutal Legends?
Legend.
Question: who is Brutal Legend based? Who's in it?
Jack Black.
Oh, so that's gonna be a fat ass fucking no from me.
You don't like Jack Black?
Nope. Not at all.
Hold on, let me just say this. It's probably not your type of game anyway. And that'll make you go play it eventually.
No. My dislike of Jack Black supersedes all fucking trying to egg me on bullshit.
There's a lot of stuff I dislike about Jack Black, but this game is just... This is one of those games where it was too great. I love it.
Does he use his voice?
Does not jerk me off.
Yeah, the heavy metal part will push you off, but it's still like a open world action adventure game, like of classic like Fable style, where you're playing a roadie, a band roadie, and you like shred people with your guitar, right? So it's like a meme in itself, and it does.
I should give it a look because I've heard everyone talk about this game. So.
If you are a fan of heavy metal, it's extra. Like that's all. It's not. If you absolutely hate heavy metal, then it's probably not for you because
No, it's
like
not.
all the scenery in the game, like they're kind of like how in what's it called? Kind of like how in No Man's Sky, the artwork, like if you take a screenshot anywhere, it kind of looks like a classic sci-fi novel cover from like the 60s. Like Dune or some shit like that.
Yeah,
like
good point.
this, every piece of artwork in this game, from whatever angle, is supposed to look like a heavy metal, like your typical heavy metal album, for better or for worse in some cases. There is a lot of classic music in there too, though. Like they're not just taking like random metal either. Like there's a lot of like well-known songs that I think even you, who's not a huge rocker, can get behind.
Yeah, because I did listen. You know, I have my share of songs I listen to. You know, whether it's like Run to the Hills, Holy Diver. There's songs, you know.
Yeah, and say like
he sells who's buying. Like I know these titles, right?
Like the guy that upgrades your car and your abilities.
Ozzy Osbourne.
It's Ozzy Osbourne.
Although I will say my favorite Metallica song, besides
Sad But True,
besides Unforgiven, is Whiskey in the Jar. So there you go.
Get out of here.
You know what? The song that's not their song, but it's so good that they made it their song.
Get out of here. You deserve to have your nutsack cut open and have
at least I said Unforgiven.
An instrumental. Good job.
It's not an instrumental.
Unforgiven?
Bro, do you need your nutsack cut off?
It's not an instrumental, Sean.
Get the hell out of here.
90% instrumental.
End of podcast.
But there is no Metallica in this game, regardless. But it is an action adventure, and it's heavy RTS, which kind of got it a little bit of gruff when it was going into
Well,
it.
that's the thing. I think it's one of the few RTS, if not only RTS games I actually enjoy. So
it was a really good RTS. It was really interesting.
It was in depth
really
and very neat. I think is what it did. It threw me that it was like, okay, you're.
It threw me off because I followed this game forever and I didn't even know that this was an aspect of it, to be honest with you. Like they were super they purposely didn't advertise that fully.
I think there was a reason behind that, right? Because you're not going to get that crowd of people in particular to like that game if you go, hey, it's an RTS, boys.
Yeah, I mean, it's much more than an RTS. RTS is like a very small aspect of the game, but it's like an important aspect of the game. It's not like you can play. I don't think there's a way to play through it and not do the RTS moments, is there?
No, there isn't, because I know that there's several fights that you have to go through that are story important fights where they're specific RTS
But
moments.
Did they not release a patch that you can some sort of way to skip over that or auto win them or something? I don't know.
I hope not.
Oh my god, boys. Oh my god, boys. I just see some Blood Bowl 3 video game model customization, and this orc looks insane.
I don't care what he looks like.
How
many customization tabs are there?
I don't know.
Then it doesn't matter. I don't care what he looks like on the screen if all he changed was the size of his nose and no other customization.
No, you can change shoulder pads, what he's holding, color. I don't know, man. Looks kind of neat.
Link me to the video because I told you that yesterday. I think it was today. I think today they had a video of it.
Yeah,
I'll have to go look it up.
Lee posted it on
Faval.
I'll actually just tag you and just add you here.
Go. But yeah, so Brutal Legends. If you're looking for something to play, I strongly suggest. Like I said, if you're not a huge rocker, you might not get most of the references, or you might not be interested in it at all. But it was a really good action adventure game, and it was a really solid RTS. And the way that it combined the two elements was really kind of interesting because it was like a third-person RTS almost. It was kind of like how what's it called, that game that just came out but didn't succeed?
Oh,
made by the ex-Bungie guys. Disintegration?
But that's a multiplayer RTS, right?
Bungie guys?
Yeah. Well, the ex-Bungie guys. Yeah, Disintegration. So it's a similar idea, but it was cool.
Anybody dig into the new Mandalorian yet? Just a question.
This is a video game podcast. Yeah. So
I think of it as an arts and culture podcast.
I don't see any culture here or artists. Except for myself.
Uncultured swine.
Uncultured, artistical swines.
Instrumental Unforgiven.
Instrumental Unforgiven. Do you want me to play you an Instrumental Unforgiven just to shut you up?
Not on here.
The main fucking version, bud.
Either way, I didn't talk about Unforgiven in the end. I talked about that other song that should not be mentioned by Metallica.
It's in the gyro.
It's not that bad, Sean. Like I like it.
Great
It's
stuff.
one of it's okay, but
Let me
yeah,
put it this way:
you're right about it
Metallica is
being-
like the most mediocre rock metal band that there is out there, and
They
I
are.
like their older stuff.
so do
And that was it. And even then,
This is
like
a
even when
video
you
game podcast.
go to their
Bro.
older stuff, no, you said this is cultural and arts, you bitch.
I don't know if I decide that.
You said that, so I mean,
Here we are criticizing Metallica.
Really, they're only around to be criticized. Let's not get this sideways. It's Metallica. They're like the longest living criticized. Like they were the meme before memes existed. Okay.
Well, Nickelback has taken that mantle lately, at least.
Nickelback. Oh yes.
Couldn't make it as a blind man.
So I've been trying to
blind man.
so
Nope.
I've been trying to like knowing that the Xbox is what next week or the week after?
A week after, a week and a half.
So I'm like now organizing my content. I'm like, okay, what's got to be on the external? What's got to be on the internal?
True.
So that I can plug it in when I'm good to go. And I'm like, oh fuck, and I gotta move the Master Chief Collection onto the external. That's gonna take a while.
Why don't you just wait? Why do you do
Yeah,
that
I'm just
now?
gonna
Though?
install Watch Dogs on. I'm just gonna do it when it's there.
Putting it on the external. Why would I want to install?
Because it's not even the same version. Like I don't think you can just port. It's not like you can move Watch Dogs to your external, then move Watch Dogs the current gen one to your next one.
No. I said
SD.
Master Chief Collection, bro.
Yes, I know, but
Well,
I'm just wondering why though. Like, why are you doing that?
So that I can just plug it in and go.
Okay,
That part makes sense. Yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah.
That one's not an upgradable thing. I'm not talking about an S to X or anything like that. Those ones I'm going to re-download, but on the console.
Right.
Granted it won't be out yet, but the Cyberpunks, the
stuff like
Valhalla,
NHL, you'll want NHL on your external, right?
NHL will be on the external. Madden will have to re-download, but on the main call.
All right, guys, I'm gonna go though. My voice hurts.
I believe
What?
we all are.
Are we playing hockey, my good sir?
I was supposed to play hockey. I do want to, and I will, but I need to not talk that much. So
You can play and not talk. Who are we planning to play with? Who were you planning to
Storm
play
was
with?
guaranteed to be there. So
What about RJ?
I don't know. I think he said he would play unless you guys suck too much. So I guess he's not playing.
I would leave the party right now, but there's no
I
party.
bid
to
you
leave.
adieu. Just kidding.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. This has been another good episode of the Sleeping Giants. A lot to talk about, as per usual. Another special mention is Lou Radio DJ Gay J finally got his PC, but as you can see, has a worse mic than ever and no webcam.
What are you talking about? Worse mic? What are you talking about? But I have no webcam. You're right. I have no webcam.
I'm not sure how I feel right now. Why do I feel any?
We also would like to thank the PC people for taking them off our hands.
Right. He's already sung the praises of PC Overwatch, so.
Well, yeah, I sung the praises of PC Overwatch because in comparison to Xbox, it is like I'm not talking about the
Don't
gameplay
forget,
handling or
Kyle, this was
anything.
one night. Just wait for the toxicity to ram in your ass from PC too. It'll be there.
Oh, it'll be there. I'm sure. It'll be there. I'm sure. But like the fact that my first interaction with people wasn't like absolute just
go kill yourself. Yeah,
garbage.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
I mean,
Yeah.
The fact, quote unquote, that someone had something positive to say about Kyle's gameplay is
he must find him
Sus?
attractive.
sus.
I think it was a made-up story. And when I was reading his story, I had to
I actually
reread
don't
it a
think
couple
it's made up
times.
at all. I think
I
he
wanted to
actually
make
said
sure
that.
in the story, I wanted to make sure that he wasn't like, I was doing so good that this team was impressed and that they came and messaged me. But that's not how it read, thankfully, because I was gonna say something about it. But
Dude, this
No,
actually
they
happened. Why would Kyle make up a story? But
it definitely happened. And, but I'm just gonna add.
If it didn't happen, that'd be insane.
But this
It
is
just-
Kyle, who's made up stories before. But
But he'd have to be a psychopath to go out of his way to make up Overwatch.
Okay, so I've seen stranger things happen today.
I mean, it makes sense. No one here plays Overwatch with him, so it's not like we can fucking shoot it down and be like, bro, I've seen you play this game. Don't.
But I was gonna say that I think the main reason for that is that more people play on PC for starters, right?
Well, yeah, for that game, absolutely, yes.
Well, for most games, I would say most games that are multi-plat get played more on PC.
What happened? Where have all the good boys gone? They're all just
also in those games, there's like the built-in immediate chat function, which with keyboard and all that, which you just don't have on Xbox. And we're in a private party, right? So it's like you don't know who's cool and who's not. Like I talked about toxicity yesterday in NHL when I had that one guy being like, "You're ugly."
Oh yeah,
right? That was like the one game out of 6 games, but I've had that happen to me before. The other 50 people I played with that night could have been awesome people who would have been like, "Mayo, GG, congratulations," you know what I mean? So it's I always try to think that like while there are toxic people, and I always say people are so toxic, I really do try to think that it's a smaller percentage than what I'm actually seeing. But who knows? Good for you. I'm happy that you got your good Overwatch friends.
Yeah,
Maybe
I mean,
you'll stop playing Siege. I'm a little sad that the special mention this week wasn't that I'm going to be a daddy to a second baby, but okay.
This is a video game podcast. Not a life podcast. God.
I don't even see what you're saying.
You're Michael Scott, eh?
I can't see your voice.
Michael Scott, I'm so sad that it's not my birthday. It's someone else's birthday.
No, right? It's so...
He said to Michael Scott, like,
"My birthday is in November."
I didn't give myself the mention that I'm having a baby. I expected my friends to mention it about me.
How many times we sit here and say to ourselves, like, "Oh, Sean, please no. Sean, please no." Wait, you're having another baby? When did this happen?
But we are proud of you. Good job.
I don't know when this happened. Clearly, I need to
I've already
pay more attention.
I don't know when. It could have been in
when did this guy?
So yes, episode 15 in the books. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I am Sean.
Names. Hey, give me one boy name, one girl name.
TSG _ This is a video game podcast, not a life podcast. Okay?
Hey man, you started this.
I don't want to stroke my ego, you know.
You started this whole "this is a blank podcast." Yeah? This is you.
I mean, it does say actually in my description. It says where we talk everything and anything. I do specify about games.
Isn't that interesting?
I do specify in games though.
Isn't that interesting?
I am TSG _ big time. Go fuck yourself.
Okay, bye. I am Axel Haxon. Yeah, I will go fuck myself now. Goodbye.
Make sure you catch him on Twitch. He does lots of sports broadcasts, and he's famous now.
He's pretty famous. And they're actually very good commentaries too. I really enjoy them when Alex does it. LU Radio DJ.
When Alex does it. You guys heard it there. You heard it.
I was gonna say, basically, he's specifying that Derek and Sean or anybody else who helps does nothing.
No, I've never seen you guys do it. I've seen Alex's baseball.
Alex doesn't use a cam, so you don't see shit.
Oh my god, this is so devolved.
And in all fairness, whenever I do it, I just put all my weight behind the undead coaches and the undead teams, and then the rest of the time I'm just like fucking elves, elves.
That's what I did.
It's so funny. The game I had Sean in was an orc game, and the first time I've ever seen a goblin on an orc team, and he was there. Sean was there for it.
And I said there wasn't enough gobos.
Hockey, then rage quit on you guys because you're all bad, and so am I. And then I'm gonna go play Watch Dogs. So goodbye. Kyle,
is RJ coming?
Derek, who are you?
So LU Radio DJ. You can check me out on Twitch at LU Radio DJ, and Twitter LU Radio DJ _42.
Okay.
And I'm TSG _ elusive man. You can catch me on Twitch. Yeah, that's the one. Twitch.
The Twitch.
No, I'm pretty sure it's Twitch, bro. Stop trying to trip me up.
All right. Okay.
Twitch.
All right.
That's where I'm at.
Oh,
One
guess
love.
who got? Oh, never mind. I'm done.
Go ahead.
Are you
say
done?
what you got to say.
Get your
I was
fucking
saying,
bot set up for
there's
betting
a
on your
cool